Kiara's going to talk to us now about increasing and decreasing stitches. Take it away.
So when you increase the number of stitches or decrease the number of stitches, you're actually creating a shape on your garment. Your knitting's moving out and in. I'm going to show you just some very basic, easy ways of doing increasing and decreasing. And they will be very helpful if you're doing shaped garments. So first we're going to look at increasing. If you're increasing by one stitch only, then that is very straightforward. You just need to push one needle out. So you can push that out on either end. Just push them all the way out, and if you go over, you'll see that this one here has caught and this one is ready to go for the next stitch. So then we can just keep going. So I've added 2 stitches, one on each side of the knitting. And you can continue doing that. Each row that you go across, you can continue adding stitches on, so that you can make your knitting wider. If I want to add more than 1 stitch at a time to each end, I have to work from the side that the carriage is on. I'm just going to knit a bit of length before I show you. Okay, so I'm going to move my weights up. So our carriage is on the right here. So I'm not going to increase on the left side, I'm going to increase on the right side of the knitting. I want to add 4 stitches at once onto the knitting. So I'm actually going to pull a little length from the carriage, push those stitches out, and I'm going to do the E-wrap, which is how we cast on. Using both hands to just wrap the yarn in a counterclockwise direction onto those needles. And then from there, I can just knit again. I'll want to move my claw across just to make sure the weight stays on these end sections of these needles. And then I can keep adding length. And you can see that we've created this little shape here in adding to the knitting. So I could then do that on this side and keep building up on each side as I go across. If I want to decrease, I need to grab one of my tools. So the tool with 1 loop on the end. So again, it's quite straightforward to decrease 1 stitch at a time, and you can do it on both sides at once. So I just loop my stitch onto the next needle. I'll show you again over here. So I put my tool onto the needle and my finger is holding the knitting back. I'll pull it all the way out past the latch, so we can see that the latch is just there. And then I'll push it all the way back in, and the knitting will actually close the latch and let it pop onto the tool. And then I'm going to move my tool across to the next needle, and I will just put that onto that next needle. So I've decreased 2 stitches, 1 on each side there. Always make sure that the needle that you just took your knitting off is all the way back out of working order. If it is still at the front here, it'll again get knitted in. So you just have to double check that it's all the way back. So I can repeat that again, where I put my tool on the needle, pull out, push all the way in so that the stitch is now on my tool, move it to the next needle, and just loop it on.
You just leave that needle out, don't you?
Yeah, we can just leave this needle out and it'll get knitted in. So again, if I want to decrease more than 1, I will have to work from the side that the carriage is on. So this time the carriage is on the left hand side, so I'm going to decrease 4 stitches on the left hand side. I will need a little bit of length again. The first stitch is the same as decreasing by 1, so I will transfer that end stitch onto the next needle, and then you can see I've got 2 loops on the one needle. What I'm going to do is manually knit those off. So I'm going to loop my yarn in front of the latch, and as the latch closes, it catches the yarn and it'll push those 2 stitches off the needle. And then I will pop that needle out again. And then I will start this process again. So I've got 1 stitch on here. I will push it in, transfer it to the next needle, and that needle will have 2 stitches. I'll loop the yarn in front of the latch and pull it through. And again, I'm repeating 1 stitch transferred onto the next needle, so that that needle has 2 stitches on it, loop in front, and knit off. So I've just taken off 4 stitches there. So now I can keep knitting. If I take that off, I can see that I've created a little square shelf there. And that is increasing and decreasing.